Oh, it's a sensory overload almost. Hey up, hey, welcome to another bike review out of Appleyard Motorcycles in Keighley, and today I'm going to be taking out this here fantastic looking Moto Guzzi Stelvio adventure bike. In the meantime, if you're in this neck of the woods, or even if you're not in this neck of the woods, get yourselves up or down to Appleyard Motorcycles in Keighley, part of the fantastic Moto GB network. It's been around a long time as Appleyards, and I've found them one of, if not the best dealerships to engage with over the years. So get yourself to Appleyard in Keighley, lots and lots of new and used stock. Okay, let's see what this here Moto Guzzi Stelvio is all about, eh? Right, here she is then, the Moto Guzzi Stelvio, basically based on the Mandello, but an adventure bike interpretation. Beautiful looking thing there in that sort of mustard yellow and grey colour scheme. And my words, it sounds absolutely fantastic. I'll fire it up in a minute. Might as well go through the specs now before we go and get the boring bit out of the way. So 1040 something ish cc, double overhead cam, 90-degree liquid cooled V twin, 4 valves per cylinder, and that engine puts out 115 brake horsepower at 8,700 rpm and 105 newton meters of torque at 6,750 rpm. Wheel at the front is spoked tubeless, 19 inches, two 320mm discs, each sporting 4-pot Brembo calipers, 46mm upside down forks, made I understand by SAS. The rear suspension being a single mono shock there, which is a KYB. Rear wheel there we have a 280mm disc with a twin pot caliper and a 17-inch spoked tubeless wheel. Seat height is 830mm, and the weight of this bike, fully fueled, comes in at 250 kilos. Not that much heavier than a Royal Enfield Classic 650, would you believe, but a very different looking bike, of course. 21 litre fuel tank, and what else can we say about this here bike? It looks absolutely fabulous and sounds even better. Copper, listen to this. This bike's got the IMU, and it's got cruise control, it's got an electric screen, and 5 riding modes, yada yada yada, you name it. Hey! Oh my words, what a thing. Right, I'm going to get some miles under my belt before we do the on-the-fly review proper, so I will speak to you soon. Oh, it's off. Oh! Come on, Wheelie, get your act together. Well, there's certainly some rock and roll with this bike, as of course you would expect from the transverse V-twin pots either side there, giving you a bit of torque steer going on. I'm obviously used to that, having the V7. But extremely comfortable riding position. Now, as I said earlier, the seat height on this bike 830mm, and I'm just about flat-footed on it with a 32 to 33 inch inseam, so not ridiculously tall, just right. Aye, just right. And loads of power on tap, loads of torque, 105 Newton meters of torque, and that peaks at 6,750 RPM, so plenty of shove. And if you're after an adventure bike with a character and a personality, I would dare to suggest that you're going to get from this what you won't necessarily get from the big beasties from Triumph and BMW. Possibly not quite so true if you throw the big KTMs into the occasion, the 1290 Super Adventures. They're a big V-twin, longitudinal. But that's got a chain drive. Now this is shaft drive, like just about all Moto Guzzi is a shaft drive. The Mandello, the V85 TT, the 4 out of the V7 range, and this bike, all shaft drive. And of course the big hitters, the 1300 GS from BMW and the Triumph Tiger 1200s, they're shaft drive too. But you're not going to get the same amount of rock and roll from the Triumph Triple or the BMW Boxer Twin as what you get from this, because this is just typical Moto Guzzi shake, rattle and roll in a very, very pleasant way, albeit that once the revs are up the engine's smoothed out completely. So I suppose this, by dint of it being just over 1000cc, not squarely in the ballpark of the big GS's and Tigers, but knocking on the door. I suppose the nearest obvious comparison to this bike is the Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports model. That's a more expensive bike from new, has a bigger tank, but it's chain drive, but it's a Honda, I suppose, which has automatic appeal to a lot of people. But this is just something a little bit different. But you certainly know you've got that power plant between your thighs, because it's throbbing away there in a very reassuring way. Suspension's quite firm, but the bike's really, really composed on the bends. For a tall bike, it's really composed in the bends, even when the road surface gets a little bit erratic, and that inspires confidence. So yeah, it really feels planted. And of course, fit the panniers to this bike and you've got a consummate tourer, all day comfortable. And like I say, just something a little bit different, you know. And you see all the Triumph Tigers and the BMW GS's on the road. Seems like every other biker's got one. But you don't see too many of these. So I know which I'd rather have. To me, you know, if I were in the market for a 1000cc-ish adventure bike, and I wasn't going down the route of the Chinese-made motorcycles, the Morbidellis and Vosges, CF Motos, what have you, then it'd be, for me, it'd be between this and the Africa Twin, if I were in that market. And this might just win the day because of the shaft drive. But of course I have to concede that when it comes to character and a bit of engaging rock and roll, a bit of personality, that the Africa Twin has that in spades, definitely. Electric screen on this one, so you can raise and lower that there screen. Which is normally a feature of these bikes at a higher price point. So nice to see that. Nice clear 7-inch, is it 7-inch? I mean the whole thing's 7-inch, I think the display might be 5-inch, but a nice clear TFT there. All the information that you need, digital readout of speed in the middle, surrounded by the rev counter, and your odometer on the left, gear indicator on the right, and obviously your rider modes, 5 rider modes, currently in road. There is a sport setting, but when I picked this bike up it had just 4 miles on it, so basically my backside is the first to be upon this bike, and I'm not going to bang it in sports mode, only to find out what I absolutely know to be the case when it's effectively still running in. And as I always say when I take out these demonstrators, you've got to respect the fact that at some point in the future it will become somebody's pride and joy. So I can't influence how other people ride bikes when they take them out for a test ride, but I never take liberties. Certainly if you there's a nice bit of warmth, not uncomfortable heat, but a nice bit of warmth off the cylinders because your knees are right behind. That'd be good in the winter, be very welcome. Excellent view in these mirrors that I call cat-size mirrors. Excellent view. Yeah, and if you give the bike a gentle hug with the old thighs, oh, you can certainly feel the beating heart of that engine, and it's glorious. Lovely slick 6-speed gearbox. I actually don't know if it's got a quick shifter or not. It's certainly got cruise control. But to be honest with you, quick shifters have pretty much zero interest to me, particularly on a bike like this. adjustable for span, brake and clutch levers, medium strength clutch action, I would say, not the lightest, but by no means the strongest. And just, yeah, it's going to be all day long comfortable, this. Really, really relaxed riding position, just what you would expect from an adventure style motorcycle. Would you take this off-road? Hey, no. 250 kilograms. I wouldn't take it off-road. Odd gravel path, bit of greenery, bit of odd green lane, yeah. But beyond that, no serious off-road motorcycle enthusiast will do any sort of proper off-roading on a bike of this size and weight. It's a good, what, 50 kilos too heavy for that. But of course, 99% of people that buy these bikes don't go off-road, never have any intention of going off-road. So we're actually going to take a run up to Helmsley via Byland Abbey, thereby avoiding Sutton Bank. Hey! And those of you who are familiar with Sutton Bank might appreciate why I would at this stage of the game, when I'm not used to the bike and it's not my bike, want to take it up Sutton Bank at this juncture of time, and I'd want to get a lot of miles and familiarisation under my belt before I took this bike up Sutton Bank. It can be a bit naughty. I've done it plenty of times on my bikes, my own bikes, because obviously they've always been bikes I've been very familiar with, very comfortable with, and they've always been my bikes. But it's a different sketch when you're on a whole heap of value like this. And Appleyards have been kind enough to, as they always do, loan me this bike for the full day. So, no heroics. Comes in two colour schemes. There's this one, the yellow and silver, and there's a black and silver. This the best looking to my mind. And yeah, 21 litre fuel tank. So it's the same size fuel tank. It's probably the same fuel tank underneath, I don't know, but it's the same size fuel capacity as the Moto Guzzi V7, 21 litres, but this is a much bigger engine, but it's a more modern engine, or a more modern iteration of that established engine. So ranges could be similar, so you know, could be looking at 200 to 250 miles on this, depending upon how you ride, of course. Yeah, but really, for for a horn. Hey, now while I've done that, worth mentioning that for a big beefy macho bike, this, like all the Moto Guzzis, has got a shockingly inadequate horn. Hey, well, it is an alarm, isn't it? Horn. Dear me, that'd need beefing up. That'd be my only criticism so far, that the horn's just a little bit Fisher Price. Yeah, this bike's for somebody that wants a decent sized, bigger end adventure bike, capable of long distance touring, 1 or 2 up, that just wants to be that little bit different, to make a bit of an individual statement. There's nothing vanilla about this bike at all. I mean, I hate to say it because they're great bikes, but GSs have become ubiquitous. And big impressive bikes though they are, particularly the R1300 GS Adventure, for me it's just a case of, oh, not another one. And to a certain though lesser extent the Triumph Tigers as well. The KTMs, the big KTMs, I mean, KTM's in such a state of turmoil at the moment. The last minute reprieve it seemed to have got following the approval of its financial restructuring plan seems now to be in doubt. Oh, look at that oilseed rate. What a typical pastiche of British springtime. It's beautiful yellow carpets of oilseed rape that you see everywhere at this time of year up here. Stunning. And if the wind's just right, the smell is gorgeous. Like that really intense floral smell. Yep, there it goes. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling now, because that just is beautiful. I mean, back to talk on this bike, we're at 30, just over 30 mile an hour now, 4th gear. No problem whatsoever, perfectly happy. Fueling's absolutely spot on. Brakes are pretty keen as well. I mean, obviously up front we've got 2 4-piston Brembo calipers and 2 320mm discs, so plenty of bite, even though we're a little bit wooden at the moment because they're still bedding in. 2-pot caliper at the rear, and that's on a 280mm disc, so plenty of stopping power, as you would rightly expect on a 250 kilogram bike chucking out 115 brake horsepower. That wants a decent set of anchors. Get handguards with this bike as standard, but not crash bars, so if it were me there'd be some engine bars going on, PDQ. and some hard panniers and some spotlights. And for adventure bikes, that's always my sort of default formula. If they don't come as those with those as standard, which pretty much all the Voges and the CF Motos do, interestingly, and at a much lower price point. Of course, all those bikes are stocked and sold by Moto GB, by Appleyards. But for the bikes that don't come with that kit as standard, the adventure bikes, I would always add those 3 items straight away: engine bars, auxiliary lights and hard luggage. Then you're away, world's your oyster. Oh, look at that white horse on the hillside there. Not sure if the GoPro is picking that up, but again, look at all that beautiful oilseed rape down there. My word. Just look at that. Every bit as easy on the eye as the rolling hills and dales of the Yorkshire Dales. Out here in the flatlands of the North York Moors. Just look at that. How stunning. And this site is one of a handful that absolutely define this time of year to me in the English countryside. And on those cold, dark winter nights when we're all suffering from cabin fever, one of the thoughts that I hold on to is the thought of riding through these landscapes with that vast carpet of yellow confirming that we're well and truly in spring, and together with that glorious fragrance. Oh, it's a sensory overload almost. I almost wish I were actually at the moment on my Royal Enfield Classic 650 or the BSA, or even Little Norman, the Classic 350, to really seal the deal. To have a modern classic out here in this iconic landscape which absolutely defines this country of ours, the good part of it. But I'm on a modern adventure bike but it's got its own vintage idiosyncrasies, shall we say. Like when you pop it into first gear, it doesn't half go with a jolt. Watch yourself. If you get yourself to Appleyards to take out this there demonstrator, when you first knock it into first gear, make sure you're holding on tight. You'll know what I mean. There we go, Byland Abbey. Look at that. Right, here we are then, the Moto Guzzi Stelvio. We've done the numbers, so I'll just give you a look around the bike. Look at that. That's a handsome adventure bike. Nice collection of flies. Nice big chunky side stand there. There's your rear suspension adjustment. But yeah, shaft drive. Look at that. Smart beast if ever there was one, eh? Byland Abbey, Moto Guzzi Stelvio. Ooh. Right then, hope that was of some interest to you. The Moto Guzzi Stelvio. If you're after a comfortable, powerful, long distance touring bike, stroke adventure bike, with lots of character and personality, then you could do a lot worse than this here Stelvio. And my conclusion for this bike at this point, somewhere between Gradley and Reet Gradley. Hey, Gradley and a half, or Reet Gradley minus. Beautiful looking thing, glorious sounding thing. Lots of character, lots of comfort, lots of power, excellent handling. Get yourself to Appleyard Motorcycles in Keighley, take out this bike, the demonstrator, and see what you think. Alright, so until the next time, and in the meantime, ride safe, be kind, and I'll see you.